Dools!
Has.
Westworld Season 3 is here. We've watched it, we're reviewing it, but Dools just rolled the intro. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the More Cops on Duty podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Harry. With me, of course, is the Stubbs to my Bernard, Edward Dools Dooley. Dools, how you doing this fine evening?
There's no fucking way you're making me Stubbs. The most useless, the most objectively useless character in the entire show. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Dude, just at least let me be one of the many Dolores clones. Oh, spoilers. Stubbs to your Bernard, to your Bernard. You think you're Bernard? It's a large call, but all right.
Classic. Dools, how you doing? How's lockdown for you?
Good.
Since we last talked a day ago.
Yeah. Same old. Doing the old 9 to 5 from home, in the comfort of my home. Just fucking ploughing through backlogs left, right, and centre. You know, TV, films, games. I'm loving it.
That's what we've got to do, man. We've got to stick indoors and we just got to plough them out.
Out of the blue, you know, Westworld's done and dusted. I'm like, you know what? I'm liking this HBO train ride. You know, I want to keep going. I want to hop over into the next carriage. So I started The Leftovers. So this is Damon Lindelof's show. So he also was the creator of the Watchmen HBO series, and this was what he did prior to that. And yeah, man, I've only watched the pilot, but it is a fucking ride. And so it's only 3 seasons, and yeah, I mean, I can't wait to just see what happens.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. Well, we'll probably get an update from you the next
sure.
More Cops on Duty podcast next
sure
Wednesday to see where you're at.
Can I ask, have you downloaded the COVID Safe app?
I have indeed.
You have? Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Downloaded it as soon as it was available. I downloaded it.
You're a very responsible citizen. I can't say
the
same.
Have you downloaded it, Dools? Have you downloaded it?
I have. Only yesterday though. So
that's all right. Well, you hardly go out anyway, right?
Mate, I'm as reclusive as they come.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I would definitely not be posing a threat to others, but maybe they're posing a threat to me.
You should see how much I'm like really pulling back in terms of spending. Like I'm saving so much money, like in terms of meals now, because I had I was doing like a plan of everything I was eating. I'm gonna eat this week for groceries and stuff, and I was like, I'm sitting at home all day. I'm not using much energy, so I shouldn't be eating a lot for lunch and stuff like that. So for breakfast and lunches, I'm having a bowl of watermelon each. Breakfast, lunch, bowl of watermelon. Then like in the evening, go for a run, come back, and I cook dinner. Like whether it be like steak and veggies or like burritos or anything like that. Tonight I'm making spag bowl. Got some pappardelle pasta. Really keen for it. So like unbelievably keen for it. But like it like.
Do you make your own sauce? Your own gravy?
I do. Yes.
Nice. Appreciate that.
I don't make my own pasta. Well, I can, but I just didn't this time.
Fuck that. That's such a laborious task.
It's a long time.
Store-bought pasta is great. You can get really good store-bought pasta. But I don't think there exists such a thing as a good store-bought bolognese. I mean, but at least it just would never compare to the homemade.
It will never compare. Man, I've always said the secret to a good bolognese is time. Not the herb, the actual, like, if you just take, like, a couple of hours to make it.
You basically, you are slow cooking it. And that's, you know, regardless of, you know, slow cooking itself, it's just all about extracting as much flavour as possible.
Absolutely. Talking about extracting enough flavour as possible, let's say that an average Joe just stumbles upon our podcast in the middle of Spotify and looks at More Cops on Duty and wonders what the fuck it is. How would you describe it to him, Dools?
Oh my god! I'm still wondering the same thing, but I'll give it my best shot.
Go ahead.
It's a podcast where two people who tolerate each other get together, and sit down for an hour, half an hour here and there, talk some films, talk some TV, talk some games, whatever makes sense, whatever's popping in the news at the moment. And every Tuesday you get More Cops on Duty Prime. Sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday. We record on Tuesday.
We record on Tuesday. Yeah, that's fine.
Hence why we have a segment called Trivia Tuesday, which would make absolutely no sense to the people listening on Wednesday. And then, of course, what we're recording presently, More Cops on Duty in review, comes out every Friday. So you get 2 shows a week, Wednesday and Friday. Platforms we're available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Sorry, iTunes doesn't exist anymore. Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and of course we're across social media. You know all those.
Nice.
Yep, and nice. YouTube. Across YouTube now as well. More recently.
Nailed it, Dools. Nailed it.
As I made it there in the end.
You nailed it. As Dools said, More Cops on Duty is internet's #1 gaming, film, TV, podcast. We record and post twice a week, Wednesday for our Prime show, Friday for our in-review show. We pick something, we review it, we watch it, we digest it, and we dissect it.
Sorry to cut you off, but I can't help but be insulted by the fact that you ask me each week to do the preamble about what the show is. And then you go, great job, Dools, you nailed it. And I'm like, thanks, Az. And then you proceed to then actually do the preamble yourself, as if I've just somehow catastrophically fucked it up. So I mean, I can't help but be a little insulted, just a little bit.
Fair enough. I apologise, Dools.
Right.
Anyway,
it's to be expected.
As this is what Dools said is our in-review show. Today we are reviewing season 3 of Westworld. We want to start off and say, if you haven't seen it, we will go full in-depth spoilers. We're not going to hold back, even though Dools has already kind of spoiled a bit of it. But that being said, you've come this far. I hope you've already seen it. If you haven't, go watch it, come back and listen to us. Let's start off, Dools, with this is season 3. What did you originally think of season 1 and 2?
So Westworld, firstly, is, from what I understand, based on a film, like a film that's quite old, which is based on a book of the same name, or maybe a book series. And this was something that appeared on HBO years ago and was just simply called Westworld. And I think it even had a pretty subpar sequel called Future World. But anyway, so it's been adapted to modern day standards in a very HBO high production drama. And season 1, I mean, I went in with no expectations. I saw what I thought was an incredible trailer, and I was like, okay, look, I'll give it a shot. It's HBO. And I was blown away. Season 1, I still think, is just one of the great television series of all time. It's really, really good. And I still believe, even though I still really like 2 and 3, I still believe had you just left it with 1, it probably would stand alone as a much better product. But and then 2, I think was a pretty good follow-up, like a really solid follow-up. I think basically, just to quickly give it away, season 1, it's all about these machines kind of reckoning with their own existence and dealing with the perils of humanity, which is exploited through the park, because it's like an amusement park for adults where they can roam free and live out all their wildest fantasies. And season 2 is like the robots kind of becoming self-aware and hosts, I should say, becoming self-aware and getting revenge. And now we arrive at season 3, where one of the main hosts, the one who led the revolution, Dolores, has taken her fight to the real world, and that's where we start with season 3. But yeah, has your thoughts on 1 and 2 as well? You enjoy? Not enjoy?
I completely agree with season 1. I think season 1 is exceptional television. I think it's beautifully written, beautifully acted, with some of the heights of Anthony Hopkins was amazing in it. Ed Harris was brilliant as the Man in Black, so ominous and so fierce, and you're not sure if he's like a villain or he's a good guy. You don't know. He's he's just so ominous. Like he does good. He's a kind of like an anti-hero. Does good and bad shit throughout that season.
I think that's almost like with all. Sorry to cut you off. I think that's almost like you could say for all characters, no one's really good or bad. It's all morally grey.
Right.
So
that's very true. Yeah, very true. Absolutely. And I think the first season all led up beautifully into the finale. In that massive twist of when you found out that Bernard was actually a host, and that honestly blew me away. That was like one of the biggest revelations in television for me.
Yeah,
like I did not see that coming anywhere, and they alluded to it beautifully. They revealed it so well, like seeing all the different Bernards and stuff. I thought that was beautiful. Season 2, I'm not crash hot on. It has its moments. It has characters that I love and I loved watching. I loved watching the Maeve storyline. Her going through the feudal Japan was amazing. And I can't remember his name, but the guy played by Simon Quatermain, the head of narrative.
Yes.
I loved his character. I think he's awesome. I thought he was like very much the audience in that whole scenario where he's just like the back passenger and he's just like, this isn't right. He's just like he's just trying to bring sense to the world. I thought that was awesome. I felt like they got really cheap in the second season and they kept trying to hightail on what made the first season so great. Those revelations that random people are actually hosts. It just kept coming and got a lot less meaningful, and I felt like it kind of disrespected the first season in meaning that degrading what the first revelation of Bernard actually was. So at the end of season 2, I was a bit let down a bit, but I did watch the trailer for season 3, and I was completely in already. I was like, this seems like a fresh new take. Different setting, some still the references to the world, and I was ready. And that's where I'm at now. Do you want me to go into what I think overall overview of season 3, what my official opinion is, Dools?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I think season 3 was set to be in line with season 1. It had some of the best. It had what I think is the best episode in the entire season, which is genre. No, episode 5.
Yeah, that's one everyone points to as being the centerpiece.
It's fucking awesome. I think using Aaron Paul as a cornerstone for this storytelling for season 3 is brilliant. I thought Dolores was great. Like, I liked her storyline through this, and I thought Maeve was brilliant as well. I thought Bernard was incredibly underused. Same with Ed Harris, Will. But I felt like his character was meaningless this season, unfortunately. And like it really wouldn't have made a difference unless I might be completely wrong, but I feel like it really wouldn't have made a difference if he didn't survive season 2. Because the end of season 3 is like, what had he accomplished? That's what I thought. But in saying that, though, that's only negatives. The positives, like the storytelling was incredible. I thought the actual worlds of the city that they're in, I thought that was brilliant. Like, did they say what city it was? I was thinking it was like New York. Was it like New York?
I think it was San Francisco, actually.
You could be right. I'm not. That would probably
actually. Again, I'm not 100% positive about that either. Could be LA. Yeah. I don't. I think it is LA actually, because they often, every time they're whenever they will go to a different location, the black ball. Well, anyway, I think it was LA.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I loved the like futuristic LA. It's felt a little bit like a Blade Runner sort of vibe, which I was all about. There is criticisms that this is no longer Westworld. They're like, this isn't what the show originally was, which I get, but I'm okay with it. You needed a change. It can't all be in that one world. And the idea of Westworld is that it's not actually the park, it's the hosts in it which make Westworld, which is what this show continues to be. That's my argument against that point. But I thought that the finale completely let it down, and to a point where I think the finale fucked with Dolores' storyline so much, personally. But what did you think?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what you mean about that. Because I guess we can kind of break it down, but I'm still kind of, because I had to go online after the season, like any season of Westworld, and kind of just fucking try and get my head around everything that just happened. But
Yeah,
because
I haven't done that yet. So like, if I've missed something, by all means,
it is one of those shows that, if you're the kind of person to rewatch it, then you're definitely going to want to do that. But I think I'm just going to want to attack tons of fan theories, things like that, and just kind of see see people's different interpretations. It's like part of the fun and trying to understand everything that happened. But yeah, I pretty much agree with your take on season 3. I think I like that. This was like a clean slate, so to speak, for the show. Going through the park had run its course, and you could feel that through season 2. That they were kind of retreading old ground and just not doing it as effectively. I think while not on the level of the Bernard reveal at the end of season 1, I still think we had a similar kind of moment in the reveal of all these other characters like Charlotte Hale and the head of security dude, the Irish dude, being just Dolores clones, and it's like
I thought that was awesome.
So I thought that was pretty cool, because I was like, okay, well, it's definitely not Hale, but you could just be like, oh, okay, well, who has she picked out? Like, is one of them Teddy? Is one of them
That's what
Clementine?
I was thinking. Yeah.
It's like no, and then Bernard kind of like has the realization, and we're we the audience has this realization at the same time as Bernard, and he's kind of talking to himself, and he's like, and because he corners one of them, and he's like, who are you? Like, who else did she trust? Who else would she trust to do what you're doing? And he realizes, like, wait a minute, she wouldn't trust anyone except herself. And so, and I thought that was just brilliant, the way they did that, because it's like, of course, she doesn't trust a single person. And
agreed.
So that was a great moment. And so yeah, I guess that's where we should kind of start, almost at the end, Dolores' storyline. Do we? Yeah, I'm a little confused. So she was trying to. So this new strategy that she got. Do you remember what that big AI was called?
Solomon.
Solomon, yeah. And then there was another one called Rubabam or something. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
Solomon was the main one.
So she got Solomon to formulate this new strategy, and Aaron Paul was planning to upload it without really knowing what it was going to do. And so and then he finally asked, at the behest of another character's name I'm going to forget, the Frenchman who was the villain.
Oh, Serac?
Serac, yeah, that's correct.
Serac.
So Serac asked him, do you even actually know what her plan is? Go ahead, ask Solomon. And he asks it, and it reveals that, what we all suspected, the plan to wipe out humanity was this, kind of like slow burn, and it was kind of explaining like, oh, by this year, X percent of the human population will have been wiped out. And so, but then, there's talking, there's dialogue, and then it gets to the point, and Aaron Paul kind of just says to Maeve, oh no, she was trying to save humanity or something like that. And I still have no idea how we got to from point A to point B in that regard.
Yep. They confuse that so much. And then there was the point that I first started losing it in the last episode was like, oh, her plan wasn't to become the leader of resistance, was to find that one guy to become the leader of resistance. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't buy that she stumbled upon Aaron Paul in the middle of the night, and he was the perfect candidate because of the past army issues that he had and everything like that. I'm like, I just don't buy that at all. I'm like, I'm all in for Dolores being that one woman army. 100%. Her bringing all the clones, I thought was brilliant. That was such a good story arc where, as you said, there's no one else that she would trust more than herself. But then in saying that, kind of makes it redundant with trusting this guy.
it cheapens her character and her arc, which seemed so crucial to everything that was happening. And I agree. I find it hard to believe that her plan all along was to rely on Caleb and for him to lead the revolution. And it basically ends with what looks like is going to be the apocalypse or something. Like, she's like, Maeve pretty much spells it out for him, like, it's the end of the world and you can be whoever you want to be, blah, blah, blah. And, so I guess, I don't know, I guess we can backtrack a little bit. So what do you think overall of Aaron Paul's character, Caleb Nichols?
I like Caleb a lot.
Same.
I loved the storytelling of his character, how it slowly revealed stuff of why he's so fucked up. Like especially that one friend, Francis. It was Francis, wasn't it?
Francis, yes.
That one, like how he's mourning the death of his best friend Francis, and he eventually find out what actually happened. I thought that was awesome, and the introduction of the drug that. If you take it, numbs all your senses and stuff, and that soldiers take it to numb, what do they call it? It numbs mercy and memories, so you just don't remember this tough shit that you're going through. One thing that I thought was an awesome invention, like awesome thing to see. It's not an awesome invention, of course. I thought it was a cool idea was the idea of the app for criminal activity. I thought that was so sick.
Uber for crime, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was such a great idea.
But then to see that also was just part of some greater scheme, and that was just being operated by the by Sirac and his or by Solomon.
Yeah, but yeah. I liked him a lot. I thought by the end of it as well, I was with you. I'm a bit confused. I'm like, I thought that they kind of cheapened everything and kind of ruined a few things with that finale that I wasn't okay with. But like as a whole, I think he's great. I think Aaron Paul acted the fuck out of him. I thought he was like some of the scenes were brilliant.
Yeah, I thought we got a performance out of him that was almost on par with his performance in Breaking Bad. He's really capable. It's just because throughout the whole thing, you kind of give every little plot hole or misnomer in the show the benefit of the doubt, because they're like, okay, well, it's gonna pay off later. It's gonna be explained later in the finale, or, whatever. That never came. So I mean, some of the most prevalent theories I saw, and dude, you should have a look on the Westworld Reddit after this, because I mean, I feel like some of the fucking random people on there should be the writers of the show, because they come up with some incredible ideas. And it's no surprise that they were able to pick every single twist in season 1, which partially ruined the show for me at that point. But so there's a lot. So shifting away from what season 1 does, which is, it tricks you into thinking that everything's happening simultaneously. And as the season progresses, there are increasingly more hints that not everything is as it seems, and things must be happening at different times, because, it's like, well, hold on, what's this character? Why is this character here and talking like this, and what's happening? And maybe by episode 7, 8, or 9, you realize, oh, okay, not everything's, there's different timelines here. And so I was waiting for that kind of reveal in season 3, but in not with timelines, but with different realities, because that was the theme constantly thrown around. What is real? What isn't real? And these talks of simulations and so forth. And I was like, well, surely there's going to be that drop of a hat moment where maybe this entire episode, maybe the episode Caleb was on genre or something was all in his head. Or I was just waiting for something like that, and. No, definitely not the whole season. I would hate for that kind of like, oh, well, it was all a dream, moment. But that didn't pay off in the slightest. It seems like everything we saw was real. So Ed Harris's character, the Man in Black, he's the real him is dead. We see a clone of him. seems Dolores Prime is dead. There are 2 copies of her remaining, from what we understand, even though they're almost pretty much becoming their own person. So Lawrence is one, and Charlotte Hale is the other. So you've removed 2 key characters. Dolores, I'm really unsure about. I mean, yeah, I think you pointed out that we didn't see her pearl be destroyed either, but there was something about the way. But she was hooked up to this machine, and it was sucking up all her memories and data from what they were saying. So I mean, even if her pearl is recovered, it's not going to be Dolores. So that seems like a permanent death from what we see now. But I mean, so in that regard, it's very disappointing. And I'm going to go into season 4 with an open mind. You can imagine there'll be a season 4. But I'm not like looking forward to it the same way I was looking forward to season 3, because it's just like, wow, we're like, it was setting off in such a bold direction then, and now it's like, well, you've gotten rid of 2 of the best characters, and while there's still a pretty strong cast left, I'm not really sure, and I'm not really interested either as to where things are going to go, because I don't have any curiosity anymore. What do you think about the whole simulation theory stuff? And like, I mean, were you waiting for a payoff in that regard? Do you think they were going to play around with that?
That didn't really come into my mind, but now you're saying it is kind of like a wasted opportunity. But yeah, I agree with you with season 4. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'll watch it, of course, because it's HBO and it's going to be great television. It's going to be beautifully written, and it's probably going to have Aaron Paul in it still. Well, yeah. Of course it will. So we'll be there. But, man, like, I just don't know where they can go from this for it to be, worthwhile watching. Like, I don't know how like, that seems like there's, like, if someone's just listening to this right now, they're going to think that we hated the season. But it's not. We loved the season. It was
we're only being hypercritical because, well, firstly, we're mainly picking apart the finale, which I think is the only bad episode out of them all.
I agree.
The rest is excellent, and we should also mention the production value on this show. I mean, it's HBO, so it's maybe not Game of Thrones season 8 level, but it's fucking big, dude. Like, they've got some really solid CGI in the form of, some of these giant, robots that we see. I mean, the genre, I think, is, again, the centerpiece of the season with its set pieces and some of the action that happens in that. It's, really frenetic action. But, we do sound negative, but that's only because we're just trying to really, get to the bottom of, our problems with it. But people are saying it ends on a cliffhanger, and does it? I mean, I'm not. No. I couldn't even guess as to where it goes next. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, like, what, a revolution's meant to start or something? And it's just like, okay, but what's the goal of the revolution? I don't even know. Like, she saved humanity from what, itself? Okay, like, yeah, it's such a cliche. Like, honestly, it could end here, and I'd be like, all right, well, okay, I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next. So, this idea of a cliffhanger, I don't know. Again, I'm going to have to dig a little deeper and read some different interpretations and whatnot, but I guess we should also touch on it. We haven't really covered Maeve and her arc, so I'll quickly start. I was initially disappointed, as I'm sure many were, because it seemed like, so we mentioned earlier how we think a lot of the characters are morally grey, but it was like Sirac was almost like a comic book villain in this. So, I mean, he was definitely a villain. So. But at the same time, Dolores still seemed really shady. And, I wasn't really sure whether to root for her either. Obviously, Sirac you don't want to root for, but Dolores, you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm still really not sure what you're doing. And then there was Maeve, who, you could kind of trust as the proxy for the audience in season 2 as, being the kind of light in the darkness and, shining the way to, a good ending. And she had a very what's the word, like just a good spirited
bittersweet.
No, I was going to say she had a very pure kind of motive in season 2. She simply wants to find her daughter, and it's actually still the same in this season. But and so she acts out of her own self-interest in that regard, and that's why she ends up working for Sirac. But I couldn't help but find that disappointing. It's like, well, I don't want to root against Maeve, but you kind of have to a little bit. I mean, did you struggle with that? Because I know, you said you liked Maeve in season 2 as well.
Loved Maeve in season 2. Yeah.
So how do you find her arc in this season, though?
No, I agree. I thought she was cool. Like, she had some amazing moments in it. Like, in terms of, I loved how she just suddenly had a samurai sword. Like, there was no explanation, but she kept fucking dropping it. Did you notice that? She kept, like, using it in battle, and within a second each time, she'd drop it. I'm like, dude, like, download whatever update you need to have to include these skills. Just hold onto the sword and fight. Like, that's what, like, you brought this weapon, we want to see it.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, it's hard to root for her. I never actually rooted for Dolores at all. I always found her manipulative and dangerous, very dangerous. Especially after she was fine. I'm not sure if she killed or no, Serac killed Charlotte's family. Where she didn't give a fuck about that. I was just like, okay, well, I'm completely off the supporting Dolores train. If she dies, I'm happy about that. Like, I'll be okay with it. Like, I wasn't supporting her at all after that even. I found her super dangerous. Like, I started losing support with her in season 2 when Teddy killed himself. When it's like, well, she fucking drove him to this. And, like, it was crazy. But, so I was kind of, like, neutral with Maeve. Like, I was kind of rooting for her, even though her boss was the bad guy. Like, the comic book villain, as you said. But, in a way, she's doing it for the right reasons. Like, she said the one line of, to Dolores of, don't get our, motives, don't mistake our motives as equal. And when, she's fighting her in the facility in the second last episode or the last episode. I thought that was a great line, and it really just kind of wrapped up what her whole season was. It was like, she's just doing this to go meet her, to go see her daughter again, which I totally understand, which I was all on board for.
Yeah, so, and speaking of her daughter, so from what we understand, there's still, I might get the name wrong. I think, is it just called The Garden, where all the hosts are that...
The Forge? Is it The Forge?
Maybe. So basically it's, and Dolores never had it, but they referred to it as the key, as the means of accessing this place. And so I thought that was also another very cool reveal. Maybe one of the silver linings of the finale was, Dolores kind of, admitting, I never trusted myself with the key to the rest of the hosts, and which was basically, they call it the key because it was the key to their survival. It's where all the remaining hosts are currently existing in flux, and that moment where Lawrence reiterated this in the last episode, but when he told Bernard, she still has a plan for you, and someone else had said that earlier on. I think it might have been the Scottish security guard. Of the Insight facility, but and then we finally realize what that is, which is, well, Bernard had the key the whole time, and Dolores knew that he was the person, he was the right person to have that the whole time. Did you speaking of Bernard, while we're on him, did you pick up on any reason as to why he visited Arnold's wife in that episode? And was that just some emotional closure, or was there anything else to that?
I just thought it was emotional closure. That was it. I didn't see it as any story benefit. I thought it was just like...
I was like, okay, this is cool, I guess.
But why are we here?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I don't know why we're taking this.
Exactly what he said. He's like, I don't have time to patch you up, Stubbs. I'm saving the world. But let me just go talk to this woman.
So that's a pretty cool moment when Bernard pretty much he enters the Forge via that augmented reality headset, whatever that is, and then we have a little post credits teaser where he wakes up and he's just covered in dust, and you get a very post apocalyptic vibe from that. Like you just wouldn't be able to guess how much time has passed, years possibly. So I think it's possibly also safe to say that Stubbs is done.
Yeah, Stubbs is done. Well,
I
who
mean,
knows, dude?
Yeah, they'll just reboot him or whatever. But I mean, he pretty much let him bleed out. I mean, what a bastard! Like he could have very quickly patched him up and then just went under. But no, he decided to do that first. So I guess there'll be an interesting payoff of that. I guess the only cliffhanger you can kind of see from there is what's going to happen with the rest of the hosts, how the world plays into this, Caleb's role, Maeve's role, Bernard's role, etc. Shaloris's role, the Man in Black, his host version now. So I mean, there are still a lot of characters in play, but again, I just don't know what the plan is, and that's cool, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not even remotely curious. Like my curiosity's gone. So I think they had a huge blunder in that sense. Like, they had me along for this awesome ride, and I'm not really sure they let me off as. They let me off at a station, and I'm not sure where the fuck I am. So
I feel like they kind of ruined Man in Black because this whole first 2 seasons, he wants to get to the end of the game, is what he said, but we never actually saw the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Ford kind of like, I guess it was always like meant to be like an allegory, or if that's even the right word, or a metaphor, I guess, that it's the end, it's about discovering oneself, and the game is like, it's at the heart of each person who's playing, so to speak. I mean, was there ever a literal end of the game? I don't know that. I think didn't we kind of find out that he was chasing, he's chasing his own tail in that regard?
I don't know. He kept, because there was all the references to the middle of the maze. He needed to get to the maze, and we just never really got there. And I thought that was a bit of a disappointment. And now we're just with this cyborg Man in Black that's definitely a bad guy.
Yeah. So what Charlotte Hale's plans are, or Shaloris is what people have nicknamed her, and the Man in Black are. I mean, yeah. Who knows?
Shaloris, that's good.
It's anyone's guess. I can't take credit for that, but I saw other people nickname her that. So yeah, again, there's only 2 copies of Dolores that are left. Lawrence, which is the last one that we see, who I think kind of just so wait, hold on. Okay, so they say there's 5. So Dolores Prime, Shaloris, Lawrence, the Japanese dude, and then
and the head of the security.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Lawrence is the last one that we see. So Lawrence still seems like he's... So we only see him in that last episode, and nothing, we have no idea what he's been up to this entire time, but you got to imagine he'll be in the next season. I mean, but yeah, I'm not sure what he'll do. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like we've been heaps negative, but I think...
No, like, all in all, like, it had the action, like, just to quickly touch on it, because we should finish up. The action was incredible, like, incredibly directed, in particular episode 5, but I loved the aim assist guns that, like, could be manipulated for hosts, because, they could hack into them. Thought that was awesome. I thought it was just a beautifully directed show as well. As we said, like, other than the ending, Dolores was amazing. The same with Caleb. Bernard and Stubbs, I thought, were very underused until the end, where you said, I thought that was awesome. Like, I'm excited for the next season just for Bernard. That's it right now.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I thought the season did an incredibly fresh take on the show. It went in a different direction, which it was very much needed. Just didn't stick the landing. That's it.
Yeah.
All in all, I'd give the season an 8.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, yeah, I think I mostly enjoyed the ride. I think I thought it was a bold new direction for the show, and I think it paid off. I think their kind of realized vision of this new world, this interesting future, is awesome. And yeah, as you said, while it didn't stick the landing, look, it's not a deal breaker. I think I'm still going to go into season 4 with an open mind. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good outing.
Absolutely. Dools, close us off.
This has been the More Cops on Duty in Review episode. Do we know which which number of in reviews this is by this stage?
47.
Oh, right. But, okay. I was looking for just the review episodes, but that's all right. So it's episode 47.
4? 5. We've done Spirited Away, then Tiger King, then... Oh, we did Ozark, then Spirited Away, Tiger King, onward this.
Great. So that's us. Thanks for listening again. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, social media, YouTube, internet. Good to see you. Thanks for sticking around.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the More Cops on Duty podcast.
See how I have the fucking last word? This is
I knew you were
exactly
going to
what
pick
I'm
up
fucking
on
talking
that.
about.
I'm Harry Dools. Dools, thank you for joining me once again. I just want to say thank you.
I have no choice. You blackmailed me. Don't they know that I'm being held against my own will?
I'm Harry. Dools is Dools. You are you. We're the More Cops on Duty. And we're out.
I'm being serious. I need help.